It's the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast with Alex Trataros, John Meleka, and Raisi on the beat. Let's go.
Raisi K, the Raisin Man.
Yo, what's good, everyone? Welcome back to another Jets episode of the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast. And not with me, as always, a buddy of my co-host, my pal, down with the plan, our boy, the Tratacaster 101, Alex, still not here, missing in action for this Knicks game, this cardiac arrest Knicks game, which you can check us out the next episode of the Knicks. We have Jeff and Chip coming on there at the end of this episode. With our guests, we're definitely gonna get to some Knicks stuff, just a taste. But you know what, Greg? It's a Jets playoffs, man. Nothing matters right now.
Playoffs start today.
MLB, the offseason does not matter right now. Like we locked up the big guys. I don't care about Correa and how you feel about that. The Rangers don't matter. The Knicks collapses. The Christmas Day game's over. They lost it. They stink. Whatever, like it's all good. It's a Jets playoffs, man. We're here. It's January football, and without even going too much into it, because there's no reason to bury the lead here, Greg. We have a phenomenal guest with us today, and there's no better person, honestly, with the way like the roller coaster of the Knicks is going right now, where we're just on such a high and we're on such a low, and with the Jets we were on such a low and now we're on such a high. There's no better person to bring on right now than my man Shaun. Everybody knows him as I Hate Shaun from the Knicks Wall. Impossible hoodies, go get those. But we're here to get his Jets thoughts, because we all know how he feels about RJ. We all know how he feels about IQ. We know he's freaking out about Tibbs. But right now, we're talking New York Jets. How you doing, my man?
I am great, man. Honored to be here. It's a pleasure. Like since the beginning of the season when you talked about this, I was really looking forward to it. So pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me. Really excited.
So we haven't spoken since that the Jets game that we went to together. That didn't go well. Neither did I guess the old takes exposed of, I remember fighting with the fans around us about Mike White and Zach Wilson. Like we were just screaming at each other, like put this guy in. And someone's like putting Flacco. How that felt like 6 years ago at this point. So before we even get near this Jets Seahawks game, near this Jets playoffs, what are your thoughts on this season, man? It's been a roller coaster, as we mentioned earlier.
So it definitely has been a roller coaster. And I think, I don't want to get too focused on the downs and, completely eradicate the ups. And so, like, we've struggled through certain points. Like, we got to a slower start. And now where we are is lower than where we could have been based on where we got to, if that makes sense. It's like, it's like, in the beginning, it's like, oh, I just want to see competitive football. And then it's like, wait, hold on. We are kind of good. Like we might be like one of the best teams in the AFC. And, the collapse, it's just been, I've been through a lot with Zach Wilson this year.
We all have.
Yeah. I am off the Zach Wilson train completely. He's a bum.
So are the Jets, man. So are the Jets, apparently. Yeah. So don't worry about it. I think we all are, but most importantly, I think the Jets are. So I think we're in good hands there.
We exhausted all possible options, but I feel good though. Not only we have a chance still, and so there's like a double-sided coin to having a chance right now and how that feels. Like being 7-8, and it's like okay, we can probably win out and get in. That's a great feeling, but at the same time, it's like wow, we fell all the way to 7-8, and when you think about the two Patriots games. When you think about Berrios dropping the ball in the end zone against the Vikings, when you think about the fact that Zach couldn't move the ball against the Lions, but even those three games at the first part, it's just like you get two of those out of those three, and we are comfortably in the playoffs already.
Yeah.
And so it's a frustrating spot to be in, but it's still exciting because we haven't had – I mean, I normally am done caring about football by like October, so this is cool.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree with Sean on all that stuff. And to his point too, like those games that he mentioned, Minnesota, the Lions, the Patriots games, we were in those games. Like again, the Lions game, we were winning with less than 2 minutes left. It is tough to think about that if we win two of those four, two of those five, because I'm sure there was another close one in there somewhere. We're in the driver's seat. To Sean's point, I think that's a great point. But also, Shaun mentioned too, not letting the lows kind of take away from the highs. There was some points this season where we were road warriors, where we were top of the AFC. To Sean's point, I think that's great to remember that stuff. Where Breece Hall was able to run the football, where it wasn't our running backs getting -7 yards and 2 yards or whatever the heck it was this past week that we saw. The unbelievable. Yeah, AVT was a monster. There's Q Will's one of the best interior defensive linemen. There are so many positives for the season to come away with. I think that's a great point to not let this, I don't know if it's a losing streak, collapse, whatever you want to call these last 5 or 6 games, take away from some of the best Jets football we've seen in a decade this season from this team. A stark turnaround from this defense compared to where it was last year, because last year was bad. We all know it was bad. And this year, Sauce Gardner, a bunch of DJ Reed, a bunch of other players really showing out for this Jets team. So I like that. I like trying to stay positive with it.
And it's so funny because honestly, misery loves company. And luckily for us, every single team that's around us that's fighting for this wild card spot, the Dolphins have lost 4 straight, and Tua is out next game, which is actually bad for us, but we'll get into that later, as everyone already knows the playoff scenario, but we'll reiterate it later. Patriots are on a 2-game losing streak. The Jets are on a 4-game losing streak. And, the good old Titans, which don't really matter for us, they're on a 5-game losing streak. I mean, we are really in good company here where we're all just thank God for that one win in December. Otherwise, we're talking about competitive December football. Like, yeah, sounds good. Like, we had a lot of moral victories, but I'm glad we had one win.
I feel like 80% of the league is like 8-7 or 7-8 right now. It's crazy when you look at the standings, how many teams are right in the hunt. And there's 2 games left, man. We have to win. It's do or die.
And as we remain in the hunt, I just would like to take a second to thank the New England Patriots. I mean, the way that they've lost these last 2 games has been monumental to allow us to continue to have a chance. I mean, by the lateral, and then last week their collapse in the red zone while they were about to come back. I'm so happy that they've allowed us to still have a chance.
Don't do this. Don't do this, guys. Okay, before we get, we're here. I have to talk it out. I'm nervous. I'm really, really, really nervous that the Jets are going to win the next 2 games, but so are the New England Patriots. And then New England's going to get in, and the Jets are going to get out because of the tiebreaker, because we lost to them twice, because of Zach Wilson. Because of Braden Mann. I actually can't handle that. I actually don't know if I can handle that scenario.
And in all fairness, while you say because of Zach Wilson and Braden Mann, you have to throw in John Franklin Myers.
Yeah.
You have to throw in John. We're up 17-3 at halftime in that first Patriots game if we don't get that roughing the passer call. I haven't stopped thinking about it since.
It's a great point.
I'm being honest with you. That's kind of slipped my mind as of late. And now I just have flashbacks of seeing it. And you know what I also remember, which was one of the weirdest feelings, is winning versus the Patriots at home at halftime, and everyone just feeling like we're down by 50 at halftime. Like, it was the weirdest, most ominous feeling around the Jets. We're winning. We're beating the Patriots at halftime. Like, if you just took a snapshot, like the stadium should be erupting. But it was 2 pick sixes brought back this year. All right. Back on track here. There's positive vibes. There's so many L's around us. But, we are back. And we are back for one reason, Shaun. Mike White. Mike White is back. I've never loved a backup quarterback more in my whole life. Like, literally in my whole, I can't even imagine. Forget the Jets, like any team. I just can't remember a backup quarterback coming in and me just liking him so much. And it worries me, just really quick, because just if it's 2, 3, 4, 5 games, whatever left in the season, being crazy optimistic, there's gonna come a time soon when we have to make a decision on him. I want him to be our long-term 1A/1B. Like I want him to just hang out, get the veteran, and just be there. But we'll get that's for a different time. But yo, guys, I remember feeling very, very nervous about Jets at Seahawks when the schedule first came out. Jets don't win on the West Coast. Jets don't win on the road. Greg brought it up. We were road warriors when we started. We haven't won a road game in a while. This has revenge all over it. We have Greg's boy George Fant, who I don't even know if he's even going to start this week because he's been so bad. We have revenge game for DJ Reed. We have revenge game for Geno Smith. We have revenge game for Pete Carroll. It's an interesting one out here. Shaun, I'm going to start with you. What are your feelings on Mike White coming in and leading this team? Like, we're favored in this game. Like, what are your initial thoughts before we get into the nitty gritty details of the injury report? What's your vibes? I know you're a vibes guy, man. Like you're every Knicks, like every almost Knicks possession, you're talking about the vibes of the team and the vibes of the rotation, and like every Jets play, like all this, like what? How are you feeling just going into this West Coast game? Because honestly, same old Jets. We go in here, we get smacked by Pete Carroll, by Geno Smith, and Sam Darnold are in the playoffs, and we are not, and we still don't have a quarterback, and here we go again. Like that's what it should be. So let me ask you this, man. How are you feeling going into this game?
I'm confident, and I'm confident because, we know we have a solid team outside of the production we've gotten at quarterback. And we know that Mike White has produced at quarterback. Like, that Jags game and the line, like just having to watch us not be able to move the ball. Like in the Jags game, we moved the ball more when Chris Trevler got in the game. And he couldn't throw the ball. Like that pass that he threw to the long
CJ.
one.
CJ, yeah.
That was, shout out to Chris Trevler. I'm a fan. I like him more than Zach Wilson. But good grief, that was such a terrible pass.
Yep.
Like, and we still finally moved the ball when he got in the game. And so no matter what, with Mike White, I've never seen us struggle to move the ball that way. He came in and started dropping 300-yard passing games. Like Zach Wilson doesn't really know what a 300-yard passing game looks like. And Mike White was having him by the third quarter, and and so having him back to back. So I'm confident that he'll produce, and that also our team, like the vibes, just knowing that okay, we're good. It was like what Saul said in his interview, and of course it was probably a little petty towards Zach, but he was like, it was nice for the defense to like not have that kind of pressure. Like no, he could go out there and just play because we had support from the offense, and so I think that like it's. No matter what, I think the rest of the team kind of feels how we do in the fact that we're good. We're lucky to be in this position still. We've had a lot slip away. Let's go claim what we have left. Like, let's go get what we have left. So I think we're going to go into Seattle. I think the defense is going to show up big time. And I think, we'll be allowed to have a Garrett Wilson masterclass because somebody will get him the ball. That's going to change everything. So I got the Jets for sure. I think this is a big win. And then we take care of business in Miami. I might even try to make my way out there.
Oh, let's
like
go. A little interstate road trip for you. I would like for you to be there for that game, but I'm not going to get ahead of myself, man. I am not as confident as you. I'm definitely a little nervous. Greg, I know you're always calling me the crazy person, but I'm telling you, I'm anxious about this game. I'm not running in here like where the Jets are going to go and they're going to kill Seattle. I'm a little I don't even know the word right now. I'm being low key. Yeah, I'm just nervous. I don't want to say I'm anxious about it because it's not that high. Like because Mike White's there, but I'm definitely nervous about this game. Greg, what are you thinking, man?
Yeah, man, I think the vibes are good with Mike White. It's just a matter of if he can play the full game. I think you talked about it on the recap that we did. He's not coming out the game unless they take him off the field. So he's going to be playing. He knows he's playing for his career, really, as a fifth-round pick to prove himself
And a contract.
Yeah, contract, everything. And, I mean, to Shaun's point, like, he's kind of proved that he can play. The offense is not a problem for him, and I think, like Shaun said with Sauce Gardner in his interview, you can kind of hear it in the defense. They know they don't have to be perfect in order to win a football game with Mike White at quarterback, and it takes a lot of pressure off them. I think part of Brandon Mann's problems might be, besides the fact that he stinks, is that he knows he has to be perfect every time he punts the football in order to have a chance at winning a football game, and he just can't do it. And he knows he can't do it.
Greg, I just don't think you understand that other fan bases don't have to watch 20-yard punts every game.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get that. Like, you don't understand. Like, other fan bases don't watch like throws that go 4 yards under the receiver or above the receiver. Like,
yeah. I mean, yeah, there definitely are other teams. Trust me, I watched Arizona versus Tampa Bay this week because I was trying to win the pick 'em.
That's their fourth string quarterback.
Yeah.
The coach is getting fired.
And to Shaun's point too, I think our fourth string quarterback was Strevler this past week. He knows the offense. He feels comfortable in the offense. He just can't get the ball where it needs to go. And Mike White has the perfect combination of having the arm talent enough to get the ball where it needs to go and feeling comfortable in the offense. Zach Wilson's just not comfortable. He's not comfortable with the offense. He's not comfortable with throws. You can see it. It is what it is at this point. We know we need to move on from. He's inactive for the game, so there's no point really talking about it. But Mike White, I feel like, is comfortable on the offense, has the arm talent enough. He might not have the arm talent for like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen throws, but we don't need that, man. We need 3-yard routes completed. We need 7-yard outs completed. We need just easy passes, and we need, to Shaun's point, we need the ball in spots where Garrett Wilson, CJ, Elijah Moore can make plays because they are playmakers. You just have to give them a chance, and Zach Wilson has not been able to do that all season long.
So speaking of giving them a chance, George Fant is limited in practice, so hopefully he's going to play. Dwayne Brown limited in practice, so hopefully he's going to play. We did activate another ex-Seattle Seahawk. I'm not going to get his name right. Cedric Ugbehi, maybe.
Okay.
So we signed him earlier. He would be fine at right tackle too. So hopefully we have some reinforcements, has some time there. On the defensive side, I know we've been giving excuses, kind of saying the same old thing all year with the offense stinks, so the defense is going to stink. At some point, they're going to eventually bend and break, and the special teams doesn't really help. They had an 11.5-minute drive. Right? It was an 11.5-minute drive that they gave up last week, something close to that. I mean, that has nothing to do with the offense. That's the defense not being able to get off the field. The safeties have been really tough without LaMarcus Joyner. He's playing. He's limited in practice, so I'm assuming he's going to go. Eccles did not participate in practice. Not great. Denzel Mims out of concussion protocol, looks like. So he's going to play. Jeff Smith did not participate. Still early. Looks like our side of the injury report is fantastic. On the other side, guys, Seattle Seahawks, they have a lot of names on this list. Kenneth Walker with his annual or weekly ankle. Noah Fant with the knee. Lockett hand. They're saying he might come back. Homer with the ankle. All these are not participating in practice on Wednesday. I'm sure by Thursday, Friday, they're going to play. This is a playoff game. The only big question mark, in my opinion, is Al Woods with the Achilles. But he's a full participant in practice, so looks like everybody's gonna play on both sides of the ball. That's what I'm assuming. The injury report looks pretty decent. There's really no excuses. The Jets are favorites on the road at the moment, which makes absolutely no sense to me. Shaun, I'm gonna you're the guest. I'm gonna let you go first here. What are not only your predictions for this game, but what are your key factors for the Jets to win? And don't give me completions. We know that Mike White has to make completions, and we haven't seen that in a while. Don't say it has to be over minus 6.5 yards rushing, because we know a little bit over the bare minimum here. What matchups are you really looking forward to on either side of the ball here?
I think what I'm looking forward to the most, and it ties back to what you said about that drive that was 11.5 minutes. The defense has got to be able to get off the field on third down. My least favorite thing is like 3rd and 9 and 3rd and 6 and 3rd and 7 and just watching the drive continue. I feel like it's demoralizing for me, but it's definitely got to be demoralizing for the defense. And we've got to be able to convert those and like take care of business, get off the field, and give our offense a chance. When we allow teams to continue to extend drives like that, we allow them to control the clock. Like this can't be one of those games. Like, I don't know what's going on with Kenneth Walker. If I actually, like you said, it's like a weekly thing. But I think we've been pretty solid against the run for the most part. Like I don't really like fear most people against the run. It's not like we're seeing Nick Chubb again.
But can we run?
It's a great question.
It's a
like great question.
That's the thing, man. That's what's been killing us, dude. Like we're watching. Nothing was more. You talking about demoralizing? I agree with you. By the way, third down's been really tough. 4th and 1 that go for touchdowns also really tough.
Oh.
But you know what's even more demoralizing, man, is the fact that okay, I'll give props to the other team. Like maybe they just stifled us, right? Maybe it's because our quarterback is mediocre and that's why we can't. But the next game, they're getting gashed by Carolina for what feels like 1,000 yards in the first half. Like it's so like that's so demoralizing. Everybody that plays the Vikings, like the freaking Colts, man. The Colts dropped 33 in the half. Forget in the half. We like, why can't we do anything versus these teams? Like that's what's demoralizing for me. Oh man, I do agree the third downs are tough, but there's just no answer for me from the defense. Because anything that I say to you or anything that anybody would give an excuse for the defense is going to be like, yeah, man, but we scored 3 points, 17 points, 10 points, 9 points. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what we're scoring. So, oh man, I can't believe it's the playoffs. I can't believe it's the Jets playoffs, man. Man, Greg, what's your prediction for this game, dude?
Yeah, I think to your point, I was just looking up real quick when you were talking about it. Seattle right now is the second worst rushing defense in the NFL based on like total yards given up. So we talk about Houston a lot on Winning Picks Weekly. Check us out over there. We go through every game. We talk about all the teams. So we dive into other teams more. Texans have been the worst rush defense in the NFL all season, giving up 2,500 yards on the season. Seattle's
Henry.
Yeah, Seattle. I mean, he's just a man on a mission, that guy out there. 2 touchdowns every time they play. Seahawks, though, right behind them, 2,300 yards. So they're giving up a lot. So we have to be able to run the football. Bam Knight has to play strong. We have to be able to get something going. I'm more interested on the defensive matchups between Sauce and Reed versus DK and I don't know if you talked about it, but Tyler Lockett looks like he's going to be playing. So how do we match up with them? The Seattle offense was cooking early part of the season. I know Geno, I picked him up in fantasy, talked about it a couple times, man. He's been good. The last few weeks, I mean, 10 points, 13 points, 24 points, not getting it done on offense. So can the Jets keep that going and lock down this receiving core? They've had some issues at tight end with injuries.
Disley's out for the year.
Yeah, Disley just got placed on
Maybe
IR
career.
this week.
He has a weird.
Oh, really?
He's a weird femur fracture on his surgically repaired. Like,
that's not good. So just how do we match up with them? To your point, Kenneth Walker always on the injury report, but still shows out and plays strong when it's time for game day. We talked about the Jets. It's the Jets playoffs. It's the Seattle's playoffs. They're also 7-8. They're 1 game back, just like we are in the playoff standings. So it's a win or go home game for both these teams. I'm excited to see how our defense matches up with their offense because their offense hasn't been too great. We need to keep that going this week if we're going to win this game. We're not going to be able to win a shootout, I don't think, with Mike White coming back from rib injuries. I don't see us scoring 40 points this week.
Give me the score.
I think it's honestly going to be pretty low scoring. I like the Jets, like 23-20, something along those lines. Like nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy. Coming down to a field goal at the end of the game. We talked about Braden Mann not being so great. Greg the Leg's been pretty good. I don't know what the weather report's going to be for Sunday. I don't know if it's going to be really windy.
It's not indoors, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's not indoors, so that's always an issue. Don't get me wrong. But, yeah, 23-20, something like that. It's going to be close. It's going to be ugly. But I think the Jets get it done. If Mike White can play a full game, I really do believe that he has the offense good enough to get the job done. I think Mike LaFleur's offense is good. It's just a matter of finding someone that can run the freaking offense, and we've been having trouble with that all season.
Yeah, no, nothing to Berrios and no more pitches, hopefully, on 3rd and 1.
Yeah, no trick plays. Just run the freaking football. If you can't get a yard, you can't get a yard. but we should be able to get a yard against the Seattle defense. It hasn't been that good.
I don't even want to see end around to Garrett Wilson, even though sometimes they work. Damn.
The line has to show up, man. Like the line's got to buckle down, and they got to make it happen. Because and the running game also plays into like needing the defense to get off the field. I feel like that leads to us controlling the clock, to being in the driver's seat. And with a team that is so terrible against the run, we have to be able. If you can't exploit the second worst rushing defense in the NFL, where you shouldn't even really go to the playoffs for real.
We've been saying that. We've been saying that for how many weeks? That's what's driving me nuts. Like we said that against the Lions, didn't work. We said that against the Vikings, didn't work. We've been saying this against every single team, and we just can't deliver. That's why I'm nervous. I think we pinpointed that. Like, that's why. Like, we should. Yes, I agree. But I'm nervous about it. Here's
Jets 27-17.
I like that. Okay.
27-17.
10-point win. 27, so we're getting some touchdowns. I like that too. Mike White, get it going.
Mike White.
Get it going, kid. Like you said, 300 yards. Zach Wilson hasn't been able to come close. 3 touchdowns, right? Zach Wilson hasn't got 3 touchdowns yet. Mike White can do it in his sleep sometimes, it feels like.
You know the funny thing about last year, and I didn't want to acknowledge it last year because at that point I was still in on Zach Wilson. Everyone else ran the offense as well. Like literally, when Zach got hurt, whether it was Joe Flacco, whether it was Mike White, whether it was Josh Johnson, almost everybody looked better than Zach Wilson at quarterback. Right. It was crazy.
No, it's a fact. But what's even more telling is not even the production; it's the play calls. When Flacco's in there, we threw the ball 68 times a game. When Zach Wilson's in there, we throw it 11 times. Like it's also like you could just see that they don't trust them. Yeah. To be honest, I actually like both your scores, but I'm just gonna go delusional land here. I'm gonna say that Mike White's gonna do this. It's gonna be a Bears game. I'm just gonna say it's gonna be a Bears game where we're gonna drop 31. Mike White's gonna be back because he always comes back on the first game. That's what backup quarterbacks are all about. That's what he's gonna be, the Ryan Fitzpatrick of this league. Hopefully he just stays on the Jets, but he's just that type of guy. Comes back first game, kills it. Does well for maybe another game and a half, gets injured. Everybody wants him back. Like this is going to be like the cycle that we go through with Mike White. And I think this is going to be the big game for him. He's going to go on the little streak now. It's going to be 31-17. New York Jets are going to move on to Miami. And to be honest with you, I think that the Patriots are going to beat the Dolphins. And then we're just going to be huge Bills fans next week. And then we're going to play them the week after. I just feel like that's coming. But we've been talking about quarterbacks a lot. The rumors have started today. Everyone, all my Jets group chats are talking about it. I know we're in Jets playoff mode, but Shaun, you're here now. We just got to ask you real quick. Derek Carr, Jimmy G, Mike White, Geno Smith, Sam Darnold, Tom Brady, who else? Mariota,
Baker Mayfield, Ryan Tannehill, Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson. There's
Jordan
a lot of
Love,
names out there depending on who you're talking to.
Jameis Winston,
Yeah.
Daniel Jones.
Who we going with next year, Shaun?
So I mean, of course, whatever we can possibly do to get Lamar Jackson is option A. You got to exert all options possible. Likely he ends up back in Baltimore, because
and franchise tag hell.
Yeah, like you can't just let that guy leave. But beyond that, I would really love to bring Geno back. I was always a huge fan of Geno. I feel very vindicated by Geno's season this year. I believe
it's not the time, Shaun. This is not the time. This is not the time.
Bad timing. Very bad timing. I'm being quiet about this agenda for the next week or so. But I would welcome Geno back with open arms. And then as far as Mike White, I think, realistically, it depends on how this season ends, right? Like if Mike White gets us into the playoffs and has a really solid playoff game, by all means, bring him back as my starting quarterback. But, I'd like to have him in the fold for sure. But, I don't want to go into next season depending on Mike White, I especially because, like you said. Yeah, so I don't want to go in depending on Mike White. So Lamar, love the Geno idea. also super open to the Aaron Rodgers idea. I think that this team is good, and like Aaron Rodgers fell off a little bit this year, but he's still really good. And he also didn't have like a lot to work with in Green Bay. And so I think that this team is, because I was talking to my dad about it the other day, and he was just like, "Yeah, but he's old." And I was like, "Yeah, but like we don't need him to be like the quarterback of the future. Like we're good enough to win right now. Like the team is really good, and so we have weapons, we have really good defense. If he can just be competent and win us ball games, we can either draft the next guy and have him waiting, or deal with that problem in 2 years the same way we're dealing with it now. But I'd be open to Aaron Rodgers for sure. I think that would like raise our floor at the very least. Like I think our ceiling is extremely high. Like we have a really young team, we got a solid defense, we got young youth at the skill positions, and so now it's just a matter of like how do we make sure that we raise our floor to the point where we can't be any worse than this, to the point where we know that we can win those games against the Lions, to where if we hold the Patriots to 3 points for the entire game, we'll win it. Like,
Yeah.
how do we ensure that? Who do you guys want a quarterback?
I love that because Greg is in most of my Jets group chats, I feel like, and he's been listening to me go off about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a $40 million cap to Green Bay if they get rid of him before June 1st via trade. That sounds terrible, but otherwise he's a $99 million dead cap on them this year, and it still trickles down. Mike LaFleur, our offensive coordinator, his job is going to be on the line after this year. His brother, the other LaFleur, Matt LaFleur in Green Bay, they don't fire head coaches, but his job would be on the line if they traded up for Jordan Love and then Jordan Love requests a trade after he gets an extension because he never got a snap. That is a fireable offense. And with Aaron Rodgers leaving, on the other hand, Coach Saleh and the coach LaFleur of Green Bay, best friends, roommates, call each other every single Monday, presumably also other days in the week. There's no way that we're not coming out of next season with a quarterback from Green Bay, whether that's Jordan Love or whether that's Aaron Rodgers. It just doesn't make sense for us not to get that. First of all, Green Bay is weird with their front office, right? They sign weird players. They have a tendency. They use it's all in house. They're weird. Why wouldn't they? How can you not help your brother and your best friend? Like, it's gonna help both of you. So I'm on the Aaron Rodgers train. It's gonna help both teams. I just wanted to know. I just want you to not say Derek Carr. That's really what this exercise was all about.
Derek Carr's a loser.
Yeah, this is great. You are more than welcome on the Jets pod anytime. Okay. What about Jimmy G?
Jimmy G doesn't move the needle enough for me. Like, I think if we're gonna bring in Jimmy G, we can just run back Mike White. Like, I don't think that Jimmy G doesn't, and that's not even like some super educated, informed opinion. Honestly, I just have never been super impressed by Jimmy G. And we see Brock Purdy coming in and doing his job.
No, it's very important.
But yeah, no, I had heard about the Derek Carr stuff, and I was like, I may be open to it possibly. And then I was just watching the game on Christmas, and I was just like, nah, bro, your defense held the opponent to 6 points all game, and you found a way to lose the game. You're missing Devontae Adams, and not only is he one of the best receivers in the league, but like you have a rapport with him from playing in college with him, and you're still missing him. Like, no, thank you. If you can miss Devontae Adams, like go do that over there. Somehow you're finding a way to lose. Like you have the number one running back in the league right now. You've got good receivers. Darren Waller had a good game. You just managed to lose the game. I've watched enough of my quarterback managing to lose the game. Keep Derek Carr away from me.
That's the one thing we know. As Jets fans, we know what a bad quarterback looks like. We know what bad coaching looks like, just like we know what bad point guard stuff looks like for the Knicks. We see a bad point guard. I can tell what a good point guard is in 4 seconds because of the Knicks. Because I was like, oh, what is that? I don't know what that is. You're doing something different here. I agree. And what's funny is he also leads the league in interceptions this year, but he also cries. Does he lead the league in crying after press conferences too?
He does a lot of that.
Yeah, I think he leads the league in that too. But interestingly enough, the cap for the acquiring team for Aaron Rodgers would get about the same cap hit as Derek Carr this year. It's about in the 36 to $40 million range. It was, I think, like 10th in the quarterback, by the way. I know it sounds crazy. I think it's like, dude, I would pay out of my own pocket for Aaron Rodgers to come join the Jets. But again, different story for a different day. Greg, just tell me you don't like Derek Carr so we can move on to some Knicks questions here.
Yeah, no Derek Carr, no Tannehill. Give me Lamar, give me Aaron Rodgers, or give me Mike White.
All right. Oh, for the record, I do want Aaron Rodgers and Mike White. So that's not an either.
Yeah, I think Mike White. I mean, we should be able to get him on a decent contract to stay around. I really do think Lamar's number one option. Like Rodgers is cool and everything. He's a little bit older. If we can get Lamar with the weapons we have and the line we have and the defense we have, I mean, watch out.
He's not coming here. First of all,
know,
Baltimore's going to put him in franchise hell, and if not, he's going to go to Miami. He wants to go to Miami. He's from Miami. There's no taxes in Miami. Tyreek Hill's in Miami.
That would break my heart, man.
Yeah,
I know.
Come on, John. Give us a couple weeks here, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. All right, moving on to what's really breaking our hearts right now, and what we're really trying not to think about. And it's really the exact. Earlier in this episode, you were describing the Jets season. You literally were describing the Knicks season. And here we are. We're at the bottom. Shaun. Yesterday, I was screaming, and I'm telling you, screaming at my television for the first time ever during a Knicks game because we couldn't make a substitution. Why do we not make a substitution? Why can we not sub out McBride at all? Just at all. He's playing 45 minutes. He's wobbly. He doesn't know what to do. You could see him not moving. Could we just put DeRozan? Like, have to beg Tips to put DeRozan? Like, what are we even talking about? Like, I know the 60-20-10. I know it was insane. It was a crazy comeback. He's on my list now with Reggie. It's definitely top 2-3 regular season losses of all time. It could be top 5 just all-time losses for the Knicks. RJ got hurt in the game as well with a lacerated finger because of Luka's nails. I mean, just a little cherry on top. Yo, what's the state of the Knicks, man? What is the state of the Knicks, Shaun?
Oh, man. That loss was like, in hindsight, it was almost impressive that we found a way to lose that game. Like, I'm still in disbelief.
You're still post-game pouting.
Still post-game pouting. I just kept saying, like, you got to be kidding me. I think I said that, like, at so many points. Like, when it started to seem like, hey, they might be coming back, when it was like, it got a little more real, then it got really real, then it got, like, incredibly real, and it was just like, yo, like, there's no way this is actually happening right now. Like, the McBride free throws feel like a century ago. Like, even when I don't even remember them when I think back at that game. He had 6 of them in the last minute. We only had 24 for the full game, right? And look at 28 or I forgot the exact numbers. I just know it was pretty close. We had 6 in the last 5 seconds. They were intentional fouls, and that was like I feel like the whole game was going to be. He missed the one. Oh, man. Shaun, what's crazy is I don't even feel like anything bad happened at the end. Like I'm like, where was the like when I'm just like thinking about it, like is 9 points, 33 seconds. I'm like rolling it back. Where was the big collapse? Like we keep getting fouled. We keep scoring. We keep hitting free throws. Like we missed the one. IQ didn't get that 8-second shot clock. Like what happened, dude? What happened? We gave up the turnover in the backcourt with Grimes when he picked up his dribble and got double teamed. That was the fastest jump ball I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a jump ball called that quickly. Ever, bro. Like the refs got a little bit involved. I can't blame them because everything I kept saying all day today is that everything comes down to we had a 3-point lead. Luka went to the line. He made one. He had to miss the second one on purpose. We had the ball in our hands. The game was in our hands. Deuce McBride knocks it out of Quentin Grimes' hands, and somehow, Luka catches the ball in midair after it gets tipped out of someone else's hands and like redirects it to the basket with the second left, all in one motion.
It was sick.
Like, are you serious, bro? Like, I felt like I was watching like a Disney Channel movie. Bro. It was so wild.
And the way he jumped after did kind of feel like, yeah, it kind of feel like that Disney movie Double Team, like one of those girls scoring. Like
Exactly.
he's like freaking out of his hands.
I love that movie, by the way.
It's a good one.
That's so funny. And again, but that's another sub thing. Like, of course, hindsight 2020. But Javon McGee didn't see the floor all game. They put him in to get a rebound. Just put in Sim. Just put in the guy who touches the top of the backboard every time he goes up for a rebound. Just put him in. Like, why can't you make that? And Shaun, like, I know you watch basketball of all ages. I know you're involved in basketball of all ages. Why won't anyone make a sub, dude? Why is it illegal to make a sub in overtime? Like, I have to figure this out. Like, this is like my until the day I die, I'm gonna try to figure out this science project, this hypothesis. Why are we not allowed to make a sub in overtime? McBride doesn't have to play 50 minutes. Like, it's okay.
But to be honest, though, I want Deuce McBride on the floor over Derrick Rose. Part of the reason we started winning games because Derrick Rose sat down and Deuce McBride started playing.
I'm not saying generally reduce Smith. I'm just saying yesterday when McBride can't run up and down the floor, like he's literally going like this. He just shot 6 free throws. Just put in maybe D Rose is faster than everybody else on the court. Just that second. Like, I don't have. Listen, I'm not the guy that complains about Tibbs. I'm really not. I've been giving him leeway the whole time. Julius Randle, amazing game yesterday. Like, I've been the Julius Randle apologist this whole time, holding it down. IQ, amazing game. Grimes looks like Allen Houston. It's just
Don't forget Mitchell Robinson.
I mean, Mitchell Robinson is the best player on our team. I think everybody knows that. Especially when you talk value, he's the most valuable player on our team because Brunson, of course, is really good. RJ has a contract; he's not of any value. Randall has a contract really not of any value. But Mitch, what he brings to the floor plus his value, and that little post up. You saw a little post up yesterday. You know what I'm saying? He could do it. He could do it, man.
I got sealed, turned over the shoulder. I was like, hey.
The only thing is, dude, what's with the arc on the free throws, man? Like he shoots free throws like my middle school CYO team. Like just like a straight line drive into the hoop.
He's launching them, man. Like he's launching beelines. It's crazy. And it's wild when they go in. But
I'm very shocked every time they go in. I'm gonna be honest.
I would like to see some touch on those, though. I would. It's just unfortunate when he goes to the line. You're kind of like, all right, man, give me one, please. But I'm starting to feel that way with everybody lately. Like, give me one. Like,
I know. So okay, real quick here, we got the Knicks on this little Texas road trip. Spurs, Rockets. Are we winning those 2 games?
I believe that we are. I'm interested to see what we're gonna do, seeing as we don't want to play half our bench, and RJ's out for a week, unfortunately. So I want to see what we pivot to now, like how we're gonna manage the minutes. But I think we should be able to, for all of like part of what's the worst thing about, and it's, I guess this just goes to speak to the state of the Knicks. Part of the worst thing about last night's game is not that we lost it; it's that it was gonna be such a good win. Yeah. It was gonna be such a good win. Starting point guard out right before the game. RJ Barrett gets sliced in his hand and doesn't get a foul call, which is nuts to me, but gets his hand sliced open 2 minutes into the game.
Nobody
touched him. Figure it out on the fly. And right, just hand sliced open, but he didn't get touched. Somebody, I feel like the NBA should mandate fingernails. Like, you shouldn't be able to just have somebody out for a week because you didn't clip your nails. But like, with all of that, like just getting the performances we did out of guys, being able to pull that out on the road, like despite all the adversity and stuff like that, it was going to be a really great win to celebrate. We're going to be able to talk about how we got a great game from Mitch, a great game from Julius, what we saw with the usage from Quentin Grimes, Emmanuel quickly playing the playmaker we needed him to be. And so all of that was taken from us in 30 seconds. And that's a crazy thing. And so we won 8 in a row. We've lost 4 in a row. And the 4 in a row that we've lost is kind of like the same thing with and I've been saying it. And I say it all the time because I know how it goes at the end of the year. And we're seeing it, you see it more in football because every game counts for so much. But it's like with these Jets games where it's like, hey, man, if we don't play that Patriots game, we are comfortable right now in position. And so we're going to get to the end of the season. And blowing that game last night, just that collapse is going to kill us. That collapse against the Bulls a week ago. Like when we collapsed against the Bulls a week ago, I was like, all right, at least we can't do that again. I was wrong. We did it again a week later, even worse. So, like, those are 2 games where it's like, those are in the bag. Like, Jalen and Grimes go to the free throw line and go 0 for 4 somehow. We fail to rebound down the stretch. And so even the Raptors game, same thing, rebounding down the stretch and free throws. I think that the Philly game we just lost. We got beat in the fourth quarter. But I think that 3 out of those 4 games, and especially 2 with the Bulls and the Mavericks, we're a couple bounces of the ball away from winning 11 of our last 12 or 10 of our last 12. And so I don't want to, have my vision marred in terms of the fact that we're playing good basketball overall.
Yeah.
And so, we're playing good basketball. And so I know a lot of people feel the way. I understand as a Knicks fan, like you said, I was on post game powder and I was yelling yesterday. It's funny because people always they refer to me as like a positive Knicks Twitter, that they always positive, and it's just like, bro, like have y'all not seen me? Like,
yeah, I think it's probably the IQ stuff that you've stuck with IQ this whole time, and you were on the start IQ movement early, and whether it was warranted or not, that's a different story. And then we have RJ, right? You're always the star J. Looks bad for a whole season. Pay him, max him. You start freaking out. We got to max him. He's our guy.
Whoa. He's never. I can't just let things be said. RJ has never looked bad for a whole season.
I mean, last year was tough. I mean, maybe it was the whole team. Like the whole team looked
25
bad.
points a game for 41 games.
Okay, so
that was incredible. When's the last time you seen a 21-year-old average 5 points a game as a Knick?
Well, as a Knick, nobody, but like in real terms, everyone. In real terms, it's a general normal thing. Yeah, he's just
a 21-year-old averaging 25 a game is also not a normal thing.
Okay, I can't think of someone young dropping that right now, but I'm sure it's there. The efficiency is obviously the problem with RJ. This year he had the slump, but you also stood by him. So I'm giving you your props. Like, you're the positive guy. You're with RJ even when he's a little down. You're like, stick with him. You mentioned really quick. I'm not gonna get into Cam Reddish. I'm not gonna get into Evan Fournier. I'm not gonna get into trade season. I'm not gonna get into more Tibbs rotation. Let's just stick with the guys that we know he keeps playing. Do you think the Knicks are gonna miss RJ like going forward, or do you think we'll be okay the next couple of games without him? Like, he'd probably come back for the Suns game.
I would hope so. I mean,
just the next two. You think we can pick up without him? Because, like, to be honest with you, we did pick up without Brunson, and I was shocked about that, right? And we kind of did pick up without Obi. That was no problem. And I think if Julius Randle was out, it would be catastrophic. Right now with RJ, we blew a huge lead, but I'm wondering what you think about the Knicks going forward a little bit here, just how they're going to look without RJ and without adding anyone to the rotation.
Yeah, that's what I'm confused about. We were able to pick up last night without Jalen and RJ, which is kind of crazy. I'm hoping that Jalen's back. Yeah, Quick was amazing. Grimes was great. And so I think, San Antonio and Houston, we should be able to win those games. I think we should take care of business. I'm not sure where we're going to go to get, I don't think that a lot of people are mad that Tibbs played people so many minutes yesterday. I don't feel that way personally. I think that if you subtract 5 minutes away from all those guys because they shouldn't have gone to overtime, it's not really that bad. Like, it's not that bad that Deuce McBride played 40 minutes in regulation.
I'm not a minute stickler. I don't think it's a minute. I think it's an eye test. I just think when the player's tired at the end, just sub him out. I mean, that's from my perspective. I won't speak for anyone else. I know people are in your mentions and yelling at you every day, and they're stickler for Tibbs minutes, and so you get on the defensive, and I am too. I'm with you. That's why I feel weird being on this side, but it was just like an eye test, bro. It was like, dude, people are hurt. Like, they're tired. Just sub it. Like, what does a tired McBride give you? Like, up until last year, we begged for you to play him. Now all of a sudden you play him, and now you won't sub him out for 2 seconds for D Rose. Like, come on, man.
I don't even know how. And maybe I have to go rewatch it. I don't feel like Deuce McBride was super tired. I'm also kind of proud of the fact that, Deuce McBride went to the line in critical moments and knocked him down for the most part. He missed
5 for 6. Yeah. 5 for 6. He's amazing.
5 for 6, bro. Like, and you need that. Like, guys need that. Whether you're honestly, and I said it on the space earlier on Knicks on One. Like, I had a game my junior year of high school where I got the starting point guard job over winter break. We had a tournament over winter break. I got the job. Coming back from winter break, the backup point guard was in Colombia on vacation. He didn't get back yet. And right before the game in the courtyard after school, the other point guard got jumped. And so now I'm the only point guard on the roster today. So it's like, oh, you got to play the whole game. And so, yeah, I'm tired, but like, you got to make plays. Like, it's the critical point of the game now. And so, Deuce McBride needs that experience. Like, if you want to be able to depend on Deuce, if we're gonna go and we want to be a playoff team, we can't put on training wheels when Deuce McBride is in critical situations in December. You've got to go out there and you've got to make it happen. And so this is a night we need you. Show up. That way in the playoffs, when I need you for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever I know I need you for, you're more battle tested and experienced. And this is part of what comes with play the kids, play the kids, play the kids. Sometimes they play the kids, play the kids, play the kids, and the kids play and they blow it. And you've got to go through those growing pains. And so I'm not, I would rather, like, if last night was Kemba Walker tipping the ball out of Evan Fournier's hands to lose the game, I would have been outside MSG with a pitchfork. If Deuce McBride is going to knock the ball out of Quentin Grimes' hands, I got to get over it.
Yeah.
I beg for these guys to play.
Yeah, it's true. No, it's true. I hope they do play, and they play well on New Year's Eve at 7 p.m. in Houston. I'm nervous about that game. I hope the Knicks are okay with it. We also have a January 2nd 3 p.m. game versus Suns. I hope the Knicks are. It's going to tell me a lot about if this team is motivated to win basketball games, honestly. But we thank you very much for coming on the Jets episode of the Knicks Jets Etc. podcast, and obviously have to talk some Knicks. It's been a rough stretch here. We need to be talked off the proverbial ledge. Alex isn't here. Greg doesn't watch Knicks games because he's a Mets fan, so that's enough trauma for him.
Yeah, I just need 45 wins, Shaun. Tell me we're going to get 45 wins on the season. That's my only bet going right now for the Knicks.
Greg, I like that because before the season I said 45 to 50 possibly, and then once we started playing well, like 45 is very attainable. It's very attainable. I think we can win 45 games for sure. I expect this 4-game losing streak hurts terribly, but like with the quality of basketball we're playing, the way that we've gone to the young guys and we've been playing better defense and things like that, I'm pretty confident. I also hope that Obi comes back soon. I'm tired of watching Isaiah Hartenstein play basketball. I'm not gonna lie.
Ship him like what? Ship him and Zach Wilson out with Evan Fournier and Cam Reddish, and don't tell me where you sent them. And I don't want anything back. And I'll take the salary hit. Just take them. Just take them all. I want the empty chairs. But
sign Melo, man.
Oh, I forgot. That was been on my mind this whole time. So I was at the Christmas game. Once they started showing the Melo highlights on the screen, I was like, no way, Melo's here. And then it was really cool to see the standing ovation with his flashy jacket you can spot from anywhere. If Melo's on this team, though, I have bad news for you. Obi's not. We can't have Randall, Obi, and Melo. It just doesn't like. What are we gonna do?
So I understand that. I think that Carmelo Anthony would rather be situational when Obi returns than not be in the league at all. I don't know that. I don't speak to him.
Yeah.
But I think that he'd rather be on a team where it's like, hey, Obi's not playing, so we're gonna need about 15 minutes a night from you, 20 minutes a night maybe. When Obi comes back, be situational, and if somebody gets hurt, we'll need you to come out there and play another 15 minutes again, and be a veteran presence and whatever. I think.
How would Obi feel about that?
How would Obi feel about that?
Yeah, dude. I feel like he's been disgruntled for at least 2 seasons now.
He does a really good job of because I would be disgruntled if I was Obi.
Yeah.
So I think that's why people feel like he is, because it just seems like common sense, human nature. Yeah. But he never really gives that off at all.
Yeah, he's good about it. He's definitely good about it.
And he loves Julius. And Julius is the guy that keeps him from really playing for real. So I think he's always been really good about it. And like I said, I don't think that they would bring it. Like, I'm not saying bring in Melo and prioritize him over Obi. I think just right now, like, we don't know. Obi got reevaluated, and they're saying he's going to have to be reevaluated again. So we don't know when Obi's coming back. And so it's like now, somebody has to play. And right now, I don't know what it is. Like you said, I don't care to talk about Cam Reddish, whatever's going on. It became abundantly clear once again last night, he is not going to play. Like,
dude,
no matter what happens, he's not playing.
He can be a fire. Cam Reddish doesn't matter, dude. Cam Reddish not playing.
It's starting to look like Tibbs will get on the court himself before he subs Cameron. So
I felt bad for Fournier. Fournier was like, if you could stomach it, and you are going to go watch that overtime in a bubble, you already know what happened. You can kind of watch it just calmly, just like, just watching overtime. Let me know what you think. and what the Knicks could have did differently in that overtime.
If you're gonna suggest putting Evan Fournier on the court when you want to win the basketball game,
no,
I'm gonna scream at you.
but why I brought that up specific? I wanted to bring it up. But why I specifically brought it up is because I remember looking at Fournier in overtime, especially at one of the timeouts. He just didn't sit down. Like, and he wasn't in the corner. He was like in a bench seat, and he just stood up. And the whole time I'm like, dude, this guy wants to play so bad. He's just like, I'm just gonna stand here and just wait for the coach to make eye contact with me. Like, yo, it's overtime. These players are dying. We need a 3-pointer. I'm just gonna stand here. Like, just like if you do stomach it, because when I talk to you about subbing, I'm not gonna get, I don't want to get too deep into it again because we're closing out here. But like when I mentioned to you subbing, I'm really not being nitpicky. I'm not talking about the fourth quarter. I'm just talking about winning the basketball game, man. That's why I'm frustrated, man. It's been 4 close games. It feels like the Jets. The Jets 4 close games. The Knicks 4 close games, and we just lost 8. This is 8 heartbreaks. That's 8 for me. That's 8 hard. That's not 4. That's 8. So it's been tough. I've been getting smacked in the face left and right. We had the USA in there too, like just sprinkled in there. Oh, it's rough out here. All right, that wraps it up. Thank you so much, Shaun. You guys know where to find him at the Knicks Wall. Post-game pouting, Twitter.
Prosperity, post-game prosperity. Put the
post-game prosperity. Post-game prosperity. Sorry. Post-game pouting is what we call each Knicks game. What it feels like for the last couple weeks. All right. You know what it is. Knicks, Jets, etc. period on our YouTube. Like, subscribe there. It means a lot to us. Let us know what you think about this Jets Seahawks game. Let us know what you think about, this is the Jets episode, but if you stayed longer here and you're on the Knicks side, let us know what you think about our epic Knicks loss here. We'll get into the real Knicks episode soon. Apple, Spotify, Twitch, Google Play, Amazon, you name it, we are there. 5-star review. Hit us up. Greg, any last thoughts besides winning P Weekly? We have the College Bowl episode with Chip Murphy. We got the full slate going on. Greg faded himself last week and absolutely killed it. Won in all of our leagues.
I think Shaun said earlier something about, I forget what it was. It's like losing is just as hard as, I forget what he said, but it reminded me of like me as a gambler, as a losing gambler, being like going 4-11 is just as hard as going 11-4. Like it's 50-50 either way. It doesn't matter. So I've had a couple 4-11 weeks. Last week we flipped it to 11-4. So it was a great week. I'm happy to be back. Happy to ride this season out. College football episode is out right now. We'll get to the NFL. We'll get to the full slate later in the week, and we'll have that out for you guys. So go check it out. Winning P Weekly on Twitter. Winning P Weekly anywhere podcasts are available. And, of course, we're always on the Knicks, Jets, etc. YouTube channel.
All right. We out.
Thank you guys for having me. Adios.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. Jets, Jets, Jets.
Yes, sir.